thought I had the American dream figured out until I moved to Portugal.
3 years later, and my entire view of the U.S. has changed. Let me ask you this.
Have you ever left your home country and come back seeing everything differently? Or maybe you're just wondering, what is it really like living abroad? And how does it change you? Stick around, because in this video, I'm sharing how living in Portugal didn't just change where I live, it changed how I live. And most importantly, how it reshaped my perspective on the United States. You know, success, happiness, and the life I thought that I wanted. When I first moved to Portugal, I was chasing something, but I couldn't quite name it. I needed a break from the pressure, the speed, the grind of American life. From the constant noise telling me to be more, to do more, to buy more. Portugal at first felt like a dream. The cobblestone streets, the wine, the Atlantic breeze, the cafes where nobody rushed you. I was enchanted, but those first 6 months, they really were a honeymoon. They weren't just sunsets and sardines. Sure, there was the excitement, but you had new foods, new friends, and the language. Oh, the language, it's difficult, but there was also the homesickness.
Birthdays, weddings, texts from friends back home, that, it felt further and further away.
And then came the bureaucracy, trying to get paperwork sorted, but not understanding the signage, wondering if I'd ever really fit in.
Residency here. It's been a difficult year trying to get everything straightened out for the paperwork and getting all that organized so I can continue to stay here. And, some of this paperwork just don't really know the signage that's necessary.
Still, I held on because something inside me said, keep going. It's worth it. Before I get into how Portugal truly started to feel like home,
I want to invite you to join my membership area on YouTube.
If you've been enjoying these deeper stories and you want to go beyond the typical travel vlog, consider joining my members only community here on YouTube. It's a space where I share exclusive behind the scenes videos, extra content on life abroad, personal updates,
and tips that you won't find anywhere else.
It's also a way to support this channel directly, which helps me create more honest, thoughtful content for adventurers like you. So just click the join button below this video to become a member and get access to the real conversations behind the journey. All right, let's talk about what changed in the first full year living in Portugal. By the end of year one, something shifted to me. I stopped seeing Portugal as a temporary escape. It started to feel more like home. I was finally understanding the language better. I had a go-to coffee spot, a favorite bakery, and a growing circle of friends who actually lived slower, but with more depth. I noticed how people would treat time here.
They respect it.
Not in the time is money type of way, but in the time is life kind of way. Lunch isn't rushed.
Conversations are sacred.
No one's afraid of silence.
Or, late at night, hanging out with my friends at a bar and we're just chilling and there's nothing that really has to be said, nothing that really needs to be said in the silence. Just really enjoying the moments that we have with each other. Granted, we have some great conversations too, but really enjoying the silence that's allowed.
The lifestyle here is healthier, physically, mentally,
and emotionally.
And people walk more, they eat fresher,
and I socialize more, and I compare myself less.
And culturally, Portugal is quietly diverse. There's immigrants from all over the world. There's Brazilians,
Cape Verdeans, Iranians, Angolans, and all this blending
into something uniquely Portuguese, yet globally human. But let's be real. It hasn't been perfect. I still felt a bit of a sting from being far away from family. I get waves of guilt for not being home when someone needed me. There were moments that I felt like a cultural ghost, present, but not quite of this place. But living abroad doesn't just reshape your lifestyle. It challenges how you see the entire world. Over the last couple years, I've met people whose lives have been changed by something far heavier than wanderlust. Refugees from Ukraine and Russia, from both Palestine and Israel. They didn't move abroad by choice. They fled war, loss, and fear. They're trying to build in a country that's not entirely their own. Learning a new language, navigating bureaucracy, grappling with trauma, while simply trying to survive. Listening to their stories has been humbling. It's taught me that not all movement is freedom, and not all passports offer protection. What started as casual conversations over coffee turned into powerful lessons in humility, empathy, and most of all, listening. It's easy to speak about travel and freedom when you have the privilege of choice. But hearing what others endure when that choice is taken from them, that shifts your perspective in ways that no plane ticket ever could. And then there's the politics. The global perception of Americans has become more complicated. The change from the Biden administration to the Trump administration didn't exactly make things easier. Since the rhetoric has hardened, anti-American sentiment has increased in parts of Europe, even here in Portugal. It's grown louder. I've had people assume things about myself solely because of my accent or that I speak English. I've had conversations shut down the second America came up. And I've had to learn how to carry that discomfort, to not always defend, but to understand, to listen instead of explain. But here's the silver lining. Those difficult moments have helped me grow. They've made me more thoughtful, more aware, less quick to speak, more eager to learn. Living in Portugal hasn't made me less American. It's made me a better one, because now I understand more than one side of the story. By year 2, I stopped comparing everything to the US. I wasn't just living in Portugal, I was living as someone changed by Portugal. I noticed my values had shifted. I stopped measuring success by income, titles, or the hustle. I'm just a badass because I'm working all these hours. That stuff's dropped off. Success became about peace of mind. That's how I measure my success, is how often I feel at peace. Simply having my morning coffee with no rush, about not having to explain myself to a culture that allows space for just being is fantastic. The third year, that's when reflection has really hit with me. I realized I've been conditioned to equate productivity with worth, and Portugal has taught me the beauty of not always doing, of being present, of enjoying the small things, like a pastry at 3 p.m., just because. But that doesn't mean I don't love or miss the US. There are things I deeply appreciate about where I came from, like the convenience, diversity of choices, and the entrepreneurial energy. And yet, I don't crave going back. I crave connection, meaning, community. Things I didn't know I was missing until I stopped outside of what I always knew. So have you ever lived abroad and had your entire worldview flip? I'd love to hear your story. Drop it in the comments if this has resonated with you. Give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, Join me as we continue this journey together. From one curious traveler to another, Atamia. So, Portugal didn't just change my address, it changed how I see everything. Time, success, community, even myself. The US gave me my roots, but Portugal, it gave me my wings.